Good afternoon, fourth grade. We're going to continue reading The Red Pyramid. Before we get started, I want you to do a quick write from your reading last night. It says, describe the Kane family. What is Sadie's relationship like with her father and Carter, and why is it this way? And if we think about what you read last night, we know that Carter lives with his dad and they travel around a lot because his dad is an archaeologist who studies ancient Egypt. And you can see in this box, he's written a lot of books. And they used to all be a family, but when Carter's mom died, Sadie went with her grandparents and Carter went with his dad. And so Sadie's grandparents put her in this boarding school in London, and her dad and Carter come get her every Christmas Eve so that they can spend Christmas Day together. Okay, and so Carter goes to get Sadie, and you can tell that they don't really talk much. He feels pretty awkward around her. You know, she makes fun of his clothes. And then we see Julius, or their dad, talking to this other man who looks a little shady, and Sadie's, she's going to find out what happens. And so, now they're hiding in the bushes, and you hopefully figured out that these dotted talk bubbles mean that they're whispering. So if something is dotted, that means it's whispering. And they're having this argument about some kind of duel, and Sadie senses that there's trouble, and so she interrupts everything and pretends like she's super excited to see her dad. And then they figure out that they are going to go to the museum. But before they go to the museum, they talk about these amulets that they have. And the one that Sadie has, you'll probably recognize as the symbol for Aset or Isis. That is the symbol for Aset or Isis. And the one that Carter has, you won't recognize this one, but it is the symbol, it's the Eye of Horus. All right? It's the Eye of Horus. And that represents another god in Egypt. All right? And so this is where okay, so go ahead, answer your quick write. When we describe the Kane family, you need to talk about how Carter lives with his dad and they travel a lot. And you need to talk about how Sadie lives in a boarding school in London and she doesn't really see her dad or Carter because after her mom died, her grandparents blamed her father for her death. All right, press pause to write down your answer and play when you're ready for the focus question. It's how do Carter and Sadie's fast, that's their feelings, actions, sayings, and thoughts. What does their fast reveal about them as people? And how is Sadie's point of view different from Carter's? And so we're going to think about who are they as people, and that's going to affect what they think about certain situations and how they react to certain situations. And we want to know, how do they act differently, or what is something different that they believe? All right. And then now we're going to go over our vocabulary. The first one is curator. That's a person who works in a museum. The next one is Rosetta Stone. That is it's a stone slab, and it has 3 different languages on it: Greek, Egyptian hieroglyphics, and another language. And this was kind of the key to understanding languages across cultures. So people use the Rosetta Stone as a way to decode other languages. And then the last one is artifact. That's an object made by a human at a later part in history. Okay, and then the next page in your notes is a page that looks like this, the character perspective page. For character 1, we're going to talk about Sadie today in Educanon, and then we're going to talk about Carter when you get to my table. Okay? So first we're thinking about Sadie, and we need to say something about her. I'm going to read these 2 pages, and I want you to think about who Sadie is and where are they right now. Okay? So I'm at the top of page 12. Top of page 12 right here in the talk bubbles. And they are riding in the car. I'm going to need your help tonight. I know it's hard, but you have to be patient at the museum. I'm going to make everything right again. And then this talk bubble. What do you mean? Make what right? Just follow my lead. When we meet the curator, behave normally. And so this is Carter and Sadie's father talking to his children about how he's going to make everything right and don't worry about it, just do what I say. All right? Dr. Kane, so nice to finally meet you in person. Your last paper on Imhotep, brilliant. I don't know how you translated those spells. Amho-who? Imhotep, high priest architect. Some say he was a magician. He designed the first step pyramid, you know. Don't know, don't care, but thanks. Dr. Martin, I'd like you to meet Carter and Sadie. Ah, your son, obviously, and this young lady. My daughter. Why, yes, of course. There's always that flash of confusion across people's faces when they realize I'm part of the family. And remember, this is an orange box, so that's Sadie thinking that. And then Carter's also thinking something. It doesn't matter how open-minded people think they are. I hate it, but over the years, we've come to expect it. And this is because the museum curator didn't realize Sadie was part of the family because she doesn't have the same color skin as Dr. Kane and Carter, right? And so that's why he was confused. And so Carter's saying, you know, people always leave Sadie out of our family, and that's something that he doesn't like because she's his sister. Let's keep going. So, the stone. Yes, right this way, Dr. King. We are very honored. Though I can't imagine what new information you could glean from it. It's been studied to death, our most famous artifact. And now here they are at the Rosetta Stone. Beautiful. It's not a replica? We don't always keep the actual stone on display, but for you, this is quite real. The Rosetta Stone? Isn't that a computer program? Sadie is making a joke. She's referring to Rosetta Stone. It's a computer program that can help you learn other languages. Young lady, the Rosetta Stone was the key to deciphering hieroglyphics. It was discovered by Napoleon's army in 1799 and... Oh, right, I remember now. Sadie, until this stone was discovered, no one was able to read hieroglyphics. The written language of Egypt had been forgotten. Then an Englishman named Thomas Young proved that the Rosetta Stone's 3 languages all told the same message. All right, and we'll stop right there. So, character. Who is Sadie? How's she feeling? We could say Sadie is not excited to be at the museum on Christmas Eve with her father and Carter. And we know she's not excited because she keeps making these comments like, don't know, don't care, and isn't that computer language, and oh yeah, I remember. All right, so write that down for character. Sadie is not excited to be at the museum with her father and Carter on Christmas Eve. Press pause to write down your answer and play when you're ready for the setting. Where and when does the story take place? This section of the story takes place at a museum in London, specifically in the room with the Rosetta Stone. Press pause to write down your answer and play when you're ready for the problem. Turn the page. We're going to listen for the problem. We're going to listen for the problem, and we're also going to listen for what Sadie wants to do, okay, and how she tries to get what she wants. All right, top of page 14. A Frenchman named Champollion took the work and cracked the code of hieroglyphics. Well, what's it say then? Go over. It's basically a thank you letter from some priest to King Ptolemy V, but in time it has become a powerful symbol, perhaps the most important connection between ancient Egypt and the modern world. I was a fool not to realize its potential sooner. So it's starting to seem like Julius has his own plans for this Rosetta Stone. Let's keep going. My apologies, Dr. Martin. I was just thinking out loud. If I could have the glass removed, and if you could bring me those papers I asked for from your archives. For anyone else, I would hesitate to grant unguarded access to the stone, but I trust you'll be careful. It will take a few minutes to retrieve the notes. Okay, pay attention. Children, this is very important. You have to stay out of this room. Follow Dr. Martin. We need to delay him. There's only one entrance once he's inside. Wrap this around the door handles and lock it tight. You want us to lock him in? Brilliant. Sweetheart, I love you, and I'm sorry for many things. Carter, you're my brave man. You have to trust me. If this works, I promise I'll make everything better for all of us. Remember, lock up Dr. Martin and then stay out of this room. All right, and so this is where our problem is. Dr. Kane wants his children to stay out of the room and lock the curator in his office. Silently write that down for problem. Top of page 15. Chaining the curator's door was easy. That's something Sadie was thinking. Honestly, do you have any idea what he's up to? No, he's been acting strange lately, talking a lot about Mom. What other mischief do you suppose he's hiding in that work bag of his? Don't know. He told me never to look. And you never did? God, that's so like you, Carter. You're hopeless. Hey, he told us to stay put. I suppose you're going to follow that order too? Okay, and so now we know Sadie, she goes back into the room with the Rosetta Stone when she's not supposed to. And that's because she wants to find out what her father is up to. So that's Sadie's goal. Sadie wants to find out what her father is up to. And so Carter follows her. Okay? What's that in his hand? Is that a boomerang? Shahad, open. Okay, so that's Sadie saying open. Okay, since when do you understand Egyptian? I don't know. And you can see now her amulet is glowing. Wusir, Ai, Osiris, come. And then we have some hieroglyphics that are lining up on the Rosetta Stone. And no, Dad, no. Okay, and if we turn the page, Sadie, children, run. Get out while you still. And here's the green magic again. Ha 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 ha. The blast knocked us off our feet. I heard laughter, horrible, gleeful laughter, mixed with the blare of the museum's security alarms. Ugh. Well done. Very well done, Julius. Some thing stood between our father and us, and as I watched, it took on vague form, the fiery outline of a man. All right, so Sadie wanted to see what her father was up to, and when she did, she tried to tell him not to do whatever he was going to do with his blue magic. So Sadie tried to stop her father from using the blue magic. And for the outcome, we know it didn't work because he released this fiery red man.